Hey everybody, it's cobradvs here, and I'm going to do a console review again. Now my last console review was the Sega 32X, and I'm going to continue on the Sega theme and talk about a console that didn't really get the notoriety it deserved. And I'm talking about the Sega Master System. This is a box copy. I got the box from the Atari Junkie. Um, and It's a console that basically was overshadowed by the NES. Now it came out in '96 in North America, a year after the Nintendo Entertainment System came out. I feel like that probably hurt the Master System for sure. Had it come out before the NES in North America, it probably would have fared better. I don't know if it could have beaten the NES, because the main reason that the Master System didn't did not beat the NES was because of the games. The NES had games like, The Legend of Zelda, of course Mario, Contra and Castlevania, and stuff like that. And it's really hard to compete with games like that. But it is a very interesting console nonetheless, and it has a lot of interesting features. And so I just felt like doing a review on it. We're going to go into all the details. First, I'm going to show you the console itself. We'll talk about that. I'll show you the controller, the Sega Light Phaser that it came with. I'll talk about some of the peripherals, and we'll even take a look at a couple games, guys. So right now, we're going to take a look at the console itself. Okay, guys, so here we are. We're taking a look at the Sega Master System. So let's go ahead and go over it. Now, basically, it is a rather large system. Let me put it up next to a Nintendo 64. You can see it's about the size of 1.5 Nintendo 64s as far as length goes. Now it is skinnier, slightly. It is rather large though, and it sort of doesn't fit in very many places. I mean, the Genesis, you can fit anywhere almost, and with this, the size is a somewhat of an issue, but it's not a killer. So basically up here we have the Sega Master System Power Base logo. This is an interesting thing here. This shows you kind of how you're supposed to set it up. Says cartridge or card, and I'll get to card in a minute. Then power on. Then you have your controller plug-ins, and then that goes to your TV. It's sort of interesting. And another thing to note, this is the reset button, and this is a pause button. Yeah, this here is the pause button. It actually has a pause button on the console. That's a bad design choice, I think, because it is sort of a pain to get to. But at least it does have one. Let's not talk about the front quite yet. We'll talk about the side, or the bottom. We'll go to the bottom. The bottom is pretty standard. There's some vents here, the information here, but there's actually a little, what looks like could have been an expansion port. Although I do not believe that anything was actually used. I heard that there was a plan for an expansion, but it was canceled. They made it, but I guess it was never released. Don't quote me on that, but that is what I've heard. The back, this is the back of the Genesis or the Sega Master System. It's basically identical to a Model 1 Genesis. The AV output is the same. Here's your channel switch. The RF and the power are the same. The power adapters are basically interchangeable, as far as I know. They have the same voltage and they fit. Although the brick on the Master System power adapter is slightly smaller. I have mine put away right now, but it's like a normal size brick, but it's actually angled. It's sort of an interesting design. It is smaller than normal ones. So anyway, we'll talk about the front here because the sides are just two vents. The front here's your power button. This here. The thing about the power button is I would prefer it to have been up here or someplace up here, maybe someplace on the console, because I've hit this countless times on accident, and I believe that actually is what caused me to fry my first Genesis on accident. At least I believe that's what might have happened to it. I don't know for sure, but it does get in the way sometimes, and it's very easily pressable. It would have been benefited to get up here. And another thing to look at here, these are the controller ports. The controller ports are the exact same as the Genesis and Atari 2600, and I believe the 7800 uses them as well. They're the standard, how many pins? 9 pins. Yep, 9-pin connectors. Now let's talk about this. This is interesting. This is a card input. Sega actually made some games that were not in cartridge form, but were in card form, and they did it to cut costs. I actually have one of the games right here. It's called Ghost House, and you can see the front shows what the card looks like. Now let's open it up, and here's the card here. It basically looks like a kind of a odd floppy disk. It's about the size of a credit card, and it just goes right in here. The Master System Model 2 did away with this because the games weren't very popular. And a lot of these games that were released on these discs were actually re-released in cartridge form. So that's that. Alright, so that's basically the console. Let's take a look at some of the games. Now here are some of the... here's a game, Space Harrier. This is an arcade game. Let's take a look at the cartridge. And before we look at the cartridge, let's look at the cover. The covers on the Master System were also another drawback. They were not very creative. Oh, this has a loose plastic, but they were not very creative necessarily. Let's look at an NES cartridge or an NES box. I mean, it's much more colorful and it really draws your eye. Obviously, I guess with a game like Mario, it's going to catch your eye anyway because it was already a defined character by the time the third one come out. But it definitely catches your eye much easier than the Master System does. So let's look at the cartridge. The cartridge is another letdown. It's just a blank cartridge with a bland print in this red checkered pattern. Again, looking at an NES cartridge. I guess we'll just look at Pac-Man real quick. It's a lot more detail. It's got a picture on it. They are larger. I will say that the size of this is very nice. But they are larger, and but they are designed better too. As far as they're designed better as far as picture goes. So bland cartridges and somewhat bland cases. So that's that. We go inside. The manuals again are pretty bland, but the manuals don't really sell a game. So that's not a big deal. All right, so this is a Sega like a arcade port. There's also some games that a lot of people don't even know this, but a lot of you might because you're collectors and you know a little bit. But a lot of the games that were on the Genesis that were popular were actually sort of backwards ported to the Master System. Games like Castle of Illusion, Road Rash was on there, and I've heard that there is a Mortal Kombat on the Master System, although I can't confirm that. But I can confirm this. Sonic was backwards ported to the Master System, and I think the main reason they did that is because after seeing how popular it was on the Genesis in North America, if they backwards ported it to the Master System was still popular in the UK, and I think in like the South America it was pretty popular as well. These are a little bit more uncommon in the States. Actually, both of mine, Sonic 1 and 2, are from Europe. So, but there are games that were backwards ported to the Master System. Next, let's take a look at the controller. The controller is pretty basic. I guess if we compare it to an NES controller, they're about the same in size. The NES controller is slightly bigger. 2 buttons on this one. This one also has 2 buttons, but it has the start and select. Start on this game, on this controller, actually is the 1 button. The 1 button doubles as the start button and the action button. That's fine. It works well, I guess. But on here, start is also used for pause, and unfortunately on this, you have to use it on the console. So we'll put the NES controller away. Let's look at the controller itself. Now, it fits comfortably, sort of like an NES controller. No complaints. The cord's fine. It's got a decent length on it. Everything's good, except I'm not a big fan of the D-pad. Now, if you notice with the NES controller, it's sort of like a cross, or whatever you want to call it. This is not very... It's alright, but it gets the job done, but it's not necessarily the best option. I do prefer the NES D-pad, but it's not a killer. And I have seen a Sega Master System controller that does have a plus D-pad, like the NES controller. I'm not sure if somebody put that in themselves or if they actually made something like that, but I have seen one. And also another thing, you can also just use a Genesis controller if you want. So it's not a killer. And then the last thing we're going to take a look at before the games is this, the Sega Light Phaser. The Sega Light Phaser is like basically the zapper for the NES, or they just called it the Light Phaser. It's got a pretty good build quality. It feels really solid. It's comfortable. It's black. It's sleek. It matches the Master System pretty well. and it goes for games like this, like Shooting Gallery. There's some other ones like Rambo, Gangster Town. I believe uses it as well. It is nice. They're pretty uncommon. I mean, they're not expensive really, but they are uncommon. And if you ever have the chance, I'd say pick one up. So now that we've basically looked at the Master System and some of the games themselves, on the outside, let's take a look at some of the actual gameplay. And we'll start with a Sega exclusive, the game I already showed you, Space Harrier, and then we'll move over into Sonic. I'll just show you 2 games for this review to keep it a little shorter. So let's stay tuned for that now. Alright guys, the first game we're taking a look at is Space Harrier. Turn up the volume slightly. Okay, you play as this guy. I don't really know if he has a name or not, and you sort of fly around the screen like this, and it's you're supposed to shoot things that are coming towards you. It's kind of an interesting shooter. It's not ordinary at all. It is pretty fun, but it's plagued by a problem of depth perception. It is nearly impossible to tell what is right in front of you or what's a few clicks away. See right there, that looked like I still had time to move, and I didn't. It's not a bad game, but it's definitely that definitely does hinder it slightly. But it is pretty fun. It's a little repetitive. It gets kind of boring sometimes, but it is fun. See, it's pretty frustrating too. Game over. Yeah, now there are several versions of this game released. There's one on the Master System, of course. The Genesis has a Space Harrier 2, and then there's actually one ported onto the 32X. No, I don't have that one, but I have heard that is basically the definitive one to get. That one is the that one is the best arcade port. So if you ever see that out there, pick that one up. The thing about the Master System is that its games are pretty hard to find in the wild. I mean, you can find them on eBay fine, no problem. But finding them, ooh, that sucks. Finding them like at a Goodwill or something is pretty uncommon, which is a shame because it does have some good games. Oh, I hit a tree. Is that a game over? Nope. Yep. Okay, it is. Alright, I'm going to turn up the music so you can really hear it. Basically, some of you might recognize this game right off the bat because all it is it's the same exact game as Sonic the Hedgehog on the Game Gear. In fact, the Game Gear is a Master System, just portableized, basically. There's even an attachment for the Game Gear that you can get that'll play Master System games on it. One thing that's missing from this is sort of the speed and the fluent gameplay that you get from the Genesis version. I mean, the music's not bad or anything like that, but it is pretty sketchy. As far as the gameplay is pretty glitchy. And when I die, only one coin come out? Huh. But, it is Sonic the Hedgehog, so if you can't get your Sonic fix anywhere else, I guess you can get it here. It's a pretty fun game. But it sort of does show some of the limitations that the Master System has. It's sort of interesting to throw this in and compare the Genesis model or the Genesis version of this game to this game. It's pretty clear that this version is the weaker of the two, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It is pretty fun. It's not a great it's a good platformer, but it's not a great Sonic game necessarily. It's about what you'd expect, a hindered down version of the Genesis version. Alright guys, well this is Sonic on the Master System, and you know, it's not bad, but it's pretty hard to play this version when you're used to playing something like this. Yeah! Alright, 16 bits. 16 bits, bitch. Yeah! Blast processing's awesome. Oh wow. Wow, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah! Alright guys, so like you say, like I have already mentioned, the Master System, it's a fun system, it's a good system, it's got some great games for it, but unfortunately it just fell short when compared to the NES. If I were to recommend a system to somebody between this and the NES, I'd have to say the NES for game reasons, but this is an underrated system, and it has some very good games. Games that come to mind, Fantasy Star was the first, Fantasy Star was on this game system. Shinobi, Alex Kidd, games like that. Altered Beast is on here, although it's terrible. I hate it. I like it on the Genesis though. Sonic's even on there, even though it's the dulled down version. It's still Sonic. Damn it. So the Master System. What's my verdict? Get it. Yeah, get it. It's a fun system to have. It's got a unique selection of games. It's got some great arcade games. Rampage, for instance. And it's always fun to plug in the old Master System and give it a run, guys. So that's my review of the Sega Master System, guys, and thanks for watching.